Hi guys, and welcome to day 4 of December De-Stressed and Documented. This is my plan for December, and if there was a window in my scrap room, I'd be throwing this out at because this has not been how my December has played out. But that's okay. At least I had a backup plan for in case all this other excitement didn't happen. So it's to the point that you really have to laugh. So today my plan, according to the plan, is to talk about budget. And this is one of the red ones, which means that today's focus is going to be on self-care instead of on the more traditional holiday topics. And so I had planned that today I would be talking about budgeting, and that ends up being very relevant to me because this happened yesterday. And so, which represents a pretty big financial change for us in terms of our budget for December, and that's already in light of another big financial difference for us that was different than planned for the month of December. So what I was going to talk about today, I mean, I'm no accountant, so I can't really give you any suggestions or tips on, how to budget your money and that sort of thing, but I do think it's important that you have a budget and that you set spending limits, because in previous years what I've done is just kind of shop until I get it all done approach, and I kind of have a limit in the back of my head, but I wasn't always really careful about it, and then there would always be those unexpected gifts that I forgot, and then I'd be scrambling, and when you're scrambling to get things at the last minute, you tend to just buy whatever's there, and it's not necessarily the most thoughtful gift or the most budget-friendly gifts. I have a couple of ideas written down here that I will refer to. The first is setting spending limits, and I think that it's important to think not just in terms of gifts, because in the past I do tend to think about budgeting my gifts. Like I'll kind of think about how much money I have to spend for gifts, and then how many people I need to buy for, and then I kind of figure out what my limit is for each gift. But I think it's also important to think about the fact that your grocery bill will probably be higher for the month of December, and that you might be traveling around more, like going out of town to visit relatives, and so your gas bills might be higher. There's alcohol and events, like going out to dinners is a lot more common in December. There's even like outfits that you need to buy sometimes for these events. If you can get away with wearing something in your closet, go ahead and do that. And even, decor upgrades, like this year we bought an artificial tree because we've been having a slew of bad luck with trees dropping their needles before Christmas Day. So we wanted to actually have needles on our tree on Christmas Day, so we just bought an artificial tree. And it's up! My last video, it was still in the box, but it's up. It's not decorated yet, but it's up and it's lit and it looks beautiful even without the decorations. So we're loving it just as it is. So then I also wanted to just think a little bit, and these again are ideas that I had set out for myself to think about on this day, and so I'll encourage you guys to think along with me about these things. But I was thinking about the fact that in 2005, no, it would have been 2004, we had a no-spend Christmas. So Scott and I was pregnant with Olivia at the time, and we had a no-spend Christmas because it was the year that my father had been diagnosed with mesothelioma, and he was very, very sick. He was not expected to live to the spring. We just thought that all of the time that you spend running around the malls, picking up stuff and buying things and preparing for the holidays, that time could be better spent with my family. And with Scott's family too, right? So we had a no-spend Christmas, and it might have been a little bit easier to do it because we didn't have kids at the time, but it was a really beautiful, wonderful Christmas, even though my dad was really, really sick and unable to enjoy a lot of it. It was still really beautiful to just spend time with family and to remind ourselves that that's what it was all about. So Scott and I literally did not buy a single gift for any people, and we asked that people not buy any gifts for us. And we gave them some ideas of things that they could do instead of buying gifts for us. And we went to a website that allowed people to donate money that would go towards getting a goat for a village or a family or something, or buying chickens and that sort of thing. And so we encourage people to do that or to donate to their local food banks. And we received a lot of beautiful cards from people who told us what they did with the money that they would have spent on us. And so that was really beautiful, and it might be a little bit too late in the year to think about doing a no-spend Christmas now, because I know a lot of people already have their gift spot, but it's something to just kind of think about. If not a no-spend, then a low-spend Christmas might be an idea for you to think about in the future. So there are a couple of ideas that can cut down on your budget besides just setting a budget. Talking to your family members or your friends, if you've got like a circle of friends, and exchange gifts, you can think about doing a secret Santa instead of everybody buying stuff for everybody else. That way everybody just buys one thing and everybody gets one thing. You can do that with cousins, like with all the children. Instead of everybody buying for all the children, then each family can just buy for one child, and it would be like a secret Santa type of thing if you've got a really large family. You can make a donation to somebody's favorite charity in place of a gift. Give an experience or an activity instead of a gift as well. It's really nice to do something like give a child some bowling coupons and make a date for bringing the child bowling with you instead of getting them like a Hot Wheels or something. Another idea is to talk to your family about ways that you can all scale back together. Like, I know some families only give gifts to the kids in the families so that the adults don't have to think about trying to buy gifts for the adult members of the family. And I think it's really important to have a conversation, a really frank conversation, especially with people who you are close enough to be exchanging gifts with. Then in theory, you should be close enough to them to be able to have a really frank conversation about what your limits are and what your budget is, and how else you can show that person that you care about them besides getting them a gift or besides them getting you a gift. Reciprocity becomes a bit of an issue, where sometimes I hear people tell me that, you know, I really wish I didn't have to buy presents for all of my adult cousins, for example, but they always get me a gift and I don't want to be that one who doesn't get anybody the gifts. But maybe they're all thinking the same thing. It's important that you think about the spirit behind giving, and why are you giving these presents? Is it out of obligation, or is it because you really love to go and get something for somebody and give them that? I guess what I'm saying is you have to keep perspective and keep within your budget. Keep perspective in terms of why we give gifts at the holidays. It's not a competition, it's not a race, it's not about accumulation of things, it's about the spirit of giving, and you can do that in a lot of different ways besides just going to the store and buying something and wrapping it up and giving it to somebody. So I'm trying to think more outside of the box when it comes to gifts this year. And I try to always do that, but it's definitely the more time-intensive approach to Christmas. It's much, much easier for me to just go to the mall and spend a day and just get a whole bunch of presents for everybody and wrap them all up and give them to them. But it's not necessarily the best approach for me or for them, so I'm trying to think more carefully about that. It's hard because life keeps coming at you at full speed. But I just wanted to say a few words about keeping to your budget, because that is something that will definitely lower your stress for the holidays. Those are my thoughts on budgeting, and I am going to scrapbook about budget, and it's not going to be, it's just going to be a little card that talks about how the budget has changed a little bit over the years. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.